We've drunk the soup and eaten the fish and chips, and the English salad. The children have drunk English water. We've eaten well this evening. That's because we live in the suburbs of London, and because our name is Smith. Potatoes are very good, fried and fat. The salad is not rancid. The oil from the grocer at the corner is better quality than oil from the grocer across the street. It is even better than oil from the grocer at the bottom of the street. However, I prefer not talking about their oil is bad. However, the oil from the grocer at the corner is still the best. Mary did the potatoes very well this evening. The last time she not do them well. I do not like them when they're well done. But still, the fish was fresh. It made my mouth water. I had 2 helpings. No, 3 helpings. That made me go to the WC. You also had 3 helpings. However, the 3rd time took less than the first 2 times. Well, as for me, I took a great deal more. I ate better than you this evening. Why is that? Usually it is you who eats more. It is not appetite you lack. But still, the soup was perhaps a little too salt. If it was saltier than you. It also had too many leeks and not enough onions. I regret that you had better make that humanity sauce the next time on November. Our little boy wants some beer. He's going to love getting tiddly. He's like you. At the table, did you notice how he stared at the bottle? But I poured some water from a glass poured some water from a jug into his glass. He was thirsty and he drank it. Helen is like me. She's a good manager, thrifty. Plays the piano. She never has to drink English beer. She's like our little daughter. Her drinks only milk and eats only porridge. It's obvious that she's only 2. She's named Peggy. The quince in the bean pie was marvelous. It would have been nice, perhaps, to have a small glass of Australian burgundy with the sweet. But I did not bring the bottle to the table, because I did not wish to set the children a bad example of gluttony. They must learn to be sober and temperate. Miss Parker knows a Romanian grocer by the name of Pesco Rosenfeld, who has just come from Constantinople. He is a great specialist in yogurt. He has a diploma from the School of Yogurt Making in Adrianople. Tomorrow, I shall buy a large pot of native Romanian yogurt from him, when one does often find such things here, in the suburbs of London. Yogurt is excellent for the stomach, the kidneys, the appendix, and the apotheosis. It was Dr. Mackenzie King who told me that. He's the one who takes care of the children of our neighbors. The Johns, he's a good doctor. One can trust him. He never prescribes any medicine that he's not tried out on himself first. Before operating on Parker, he had his own liver operated on first, although he took the least bit ill.
But how does it happen that the doctor pulled through while Parker died?
Because the operation was successful in the doctor's case, and it was not in Parker's.
Then Mackenzie's not a good doctor. The operation should have succeeded with both of them, or else both should have died.
Why?
A conscientious doctor must die with the patient if they can't get well together. The captain of a ship goes down with the ship into the briny deep. He does not survive alone.
But one cannot compare a patient with a ship.
Why not? The ship has its diseases too. Moreover, your doctor is as hale as a ship. That's why he should have perished at the same time as his patient, like the captain of the ship.
Ah, I hadn't thought of that. Perhaps it is true. And then, what conclusion you draw from this?
All doctors are quacks, and all patients too. Only the Royal Navy is honest in England.
Not sailing. Natural.
Here's the thing I don't understand. In the newspaper, they always give the age of deceased persons, and never the age of the newly born.
I thought of that.
It says here that Bobby Watson died.
My God, the poor man. When did he die?
Why do you pretend to be astonished? You know very well he's been dead these past 2 years. Surely you remember we attended his funeral a year and a half ago.
Oh, yes, of course. I do remember. I remember it right away. But I didn't understand why you yourself were so surprised to see it in the paper.
It wasn't in the paper. It's been 3 years since his death was announced. I remembered him from association of ideas.
What a pity. He was so well preserved.
He was the handsomest corpse in Great Britain. He didn't look his age. Poor Bobby. He'd been dead for 4 years and he was still warm. A veritable living corpse. And how cheerful he was.
Poor Bobby.
Which poor Bobby do you mean?
It is his wife that I mean. She is poor Bobby too. Bobby Watson. Since they both had the same name, you could never tell one from the other when you saw them together. It was only afterwards that you could really tell which was which. And then, still before the day, could feel told the deceased and offer their condolences to him. Do you know her?
I only met her once by chance. At Bobby's burial.
I've never seen her. Is she pretty?
She has regular features, and yet one cannot say that she is pretty. She is too big and stout. Her features are not regular, yet still one can say that she is very pretty. She is a little too small and too thin. She is a voice teacher.
And when do they plan to be married, those two?
Next spring at the latest.
We should have to go to the wedding, I suppose.
We shall have to bring them a wedding present. I wonder what.
Why don't we give them one of our 7 silver salvers that were given us for our wedding, and which have never been of any use to us? How sad for her to be left a widow, so young.
Fortunately, they had no children.
That was all they needed. Children, poor woman. How could she have managed?
She's still young. She might very well remarry. She looks so well in mourning.
But who would take care of the children? You know very well to have a boy and a girl. What are their names?
Bobby and Bobby, like their parents. Bobby Watson's uncle, old Bobby Watson, is a rich man and very fond of the boy. He might very well pay for Bobby's education.
That would be proper. And Bobby Watson's aunt, old Bobby Watson, might very well, in her turn, pay for the education of Bobby, Bobby Watson's daughter. That way, Bobby Watson's mother could be married. Has she anyone in mind?
Yes, a cousin of Bobby Watson.
Who, Bobby Watson?
Which Bobby Watson do you mean?
Why, Bobby Watson, the son of old Bobby Watson, the late Bobby Watson's other uncle.
No, it's not that one. It's someone else. It's Bobby Watson, the son of old Bobby Watson, the late Bobby Watson's uncle.
Are you referring to Bobby Watson, the commercial traveler?
All the Bobby Watsons are commercial travelers.
What a difficult trade. However, they do well at it.
Yes, when there's no competition.
And when is there no competition?
On Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Tuesdays.
Ah, 3 days a week. And what does Bobby Watson do on those days?
He rests, he sleeps.
But why doesn't he work those 3 days if there's no competition?
I don't know everything. I can't answer all your idiotic questions.
Are you trying to humiliate me?
You know very well that I'm not.
Men are all alike. You sit there all day long, a cigarette in your mouth, you powder your nose, and rouge your lips 50 times a day. Or else you drink like a fish.
But what would you say if you saw men acting like women do? Smoking all day long, powdering, rouging their lips, drinking whiskey.
It's nothing to me, but if you're only saying that to annoy me, no care that kind of joking. You know that very well.
My little ducky daddles. You know that I only said it as a joke. But let's put out the lights and go bye-bye.
I'm the maid. I've spent a very pleasant afternoon. I've been to the cinema with a man, and I've seen a film with some women. After the cinema, the newspaper.
I hope things have been a pleasant afternoon. You go to the cinema with a man, and you drink some brandy and milk.
And the newspaper.
Mr. and Mrs. Martin are guests at the door. They're waiting for me. They didn't dare come in by themselves. They were supposed to have dinner with you this evening.
Oh yes, we were expecting them, and we were hungry. And since they didn't put in an appearance, we were going to stop dinner without them. We've had nothing to eat all day. You should have not gone out.
But it was you who gave me permission.
You didn't do it on purpose.
My dear Mary, please, open the door and ask Mr. and Mr. Moss to step in. We will change quickly.
Why have you come so late?
Unless I'm mistaken, that I've met you somewhere before.
I too, sir. It seems to me that I've met you somewhere before.
Was it by any chance at Manchester that I got a glimpse of you, madam?
That is certainly possible. I am originally from the city of Manchester. But I do not have a good memory, sir. I cannot say whether it was there that I caught a glimpse of you or not.
Good God, that's curious. I, too, am originally from the city of Manchester, madam.
That is curious.
Isn't that curious? Only I, madam. I left the city of Manchester about 5 weeks ago.
That is curious. How very bizarre. And what a coincidence. I too, sir. I left the city of Manchester about 5 weeks ago.
I took the 8:30 morning train, which arrives in London at 4:45.
How curious that is. How bizarre. And what a coincidence. I took the same train, sir. I too.
Good God, that is curious. I was at the train and I saw you.
It is impossible. That is not unlikely. It is possible, and after all, why not? But I don't recall it, sir.
I travel second class, madam. There's no second class in England, but I always travel second class.
How curious that is. How bizarre. And what a coincidence. I too, sir. I traveled second class.
How curious it is. Perhaps it was in the second class that I met you.
How curious it is. It is indeed possible. But I don't recall it, sir.
My seat was on coach number 8, compartment 6, my dear lady.
How curious that is. How very bizarre. My seat was also in coach number 8, compartment 6, my dear sir.
How curious it is. What a bizarre coincidence. Perhaps it was on compartment 6 that we met.
How curious it is. It is indeed possible. But I don't recall it, sir.
To tell you the truth, my dear lady, I can't say I remember it either. However, it is very possible that we did see each other on an occasion. And as I think of it, it seems to me even very likely.
Oh, truly, of course, truly, sir.
My seat was on seat number 3, next to the window, my dear lady.
How curious that is. How bizarre. My seat was number 6, next to the window, across from you, my dear sir.
Good Lord, that is curious. We were then seated facing each other, madam. Is perhaps there we have met?
How curious it is. It's possible. But I don't recall it, sir.
To tell you the truth, my dear lady, I can't say I remembered either. However, it is very possible that we did see each other on that occasion.
It is true. But I am not at all sure of it, sir.
Were you not the lady who asked me to place a suitcase in the luggage rack? And who thanked me and gave me permission to smoke?
But of course, that must have been I, sir. How curious it is. How curious it is. And what a coincidence.
How curious it is, and strange, and bizarre. And well, it's perhaps that moment that we came to know each other, madam.
How curious it is. It is indeed possible. But I don't recall it, sir.
Nor do I, madam. Since coming to London, I've resided on Bromfield Street, my dear lady.
That is curious. How very bizarre. And what a coincidence. I too, sir, since coming to London, I have resided in Bromfield Street, my dear sir.
How curious it is, and what a bizarre coincidence. And well, it was perhaps at Bromfield Street that we met.
How curious it is. It is indeed possible, but I don't recall it, sir.
I reside at number 19, my dear lady.
How curious that is. I also reside at number 19, my dear sir.
Well then, perhaps it was at that house that we met.
How curious it is. It is indeed possible, but I don't recall it, sir.
My flat is on the 5th floor, number 8, my dear lady.
That is curious. How very bizarre. My flat is also on the 5th floor, number 8, my dear sir.
How curious it is. How curious it is. How curious it is. And what a coincidence. And well, in my bedroom there's a bed, which is covered with a green eiderdown. This bed, which is covered with the green eiderdown, is at the end of the corridor between the WC and the bookcase, my dear lady.
What a coincidence! Good Lord, what a coincidence! My bedroom too has a bed with the green eiderdown, and it's at the end of the corridor, between the WC, dear sir, and the bookcase.
How curious it is. What a coincidence. Then, we live in the same room and we sleep in the same bed. It is perhaps there we have met.
It is indeed possible that we met there, and perhaps even last night. But I don't believe that I recall it, sir.
I have a little girl, my daughter. She lives with me. She's blonde. She's 2 years old. She's a white eye and a red eye. She is very cute, and her name is Alice, my dear lady.
How curious that is. What a coincidence. I too have a little girl. She is 2 years old. She's blonde, has a white eye and a red eye. She is very cute, and her name is Alice too, dear sir.
How curious it is. Bizarre. Strange. Perhaps they're the same, my dear lady.
It is indeed possible, dear sir.
Then, my dear madam, I think there can be no doubt about it. We have seen each other before, and you're my own wife. Elizabeth, I found you again.
Donald, it's you, darling. Elizabeth and Donald are now too happy to be able to hear me. I can therefore let you in on a secret. Elizabeth is not Elizabeth. Donald is not Donald. And here's the proof. The child that Donald spoke of is not Elizabeth's daughter. They are not the same person. Donald's daughter has one white eye and one red eye, like Elizabeth's daughter, whereas Donald's child has a white right eye and a red left eye. Elizabeth's child has a red right eye and a white left eye. Thus, all of Donald's system of deduction collapses when it comes up against this last obstacle which destroys his whole theory. Despite the extraordinary coincidences, which seem to be definitive proof, Donald and Elizabeth, not being the parents of the same child, are not Donald and Elizabeth. It is in vain that he thinks he is Donald. It is in vain that she thinks she is Elizabeth. She believes in vain that he is Donald. He believes in vain that she is Elizabeth. They are sadly deceived. Who is the true Elizabeth? Who has any interest in flowing in this confusion? I don't know. Let's not try to know. Let's leave things as they are. My real name is Sherlock Holmes.
Darling, let's forget all that has passed between us, and now that we are together again, let's not try to lose each other anymore and live as before.
Yes, darling. Good evening, Grandpa. Please forgive us for having made you wait so long. We thought that we should extend you the courtesy to which you are entitled.
And as soon as we had learned, you'd been kind enough to give us the pleasure of coming to see us without prior notice, we hurried to dress the occasion.
We've had nothing to eat all day, and we've been waiting 4 whole hours for you. Why have you come so late?
Oh, but definitely.
We all have colds.
Nevertheless, it's not chilly.
There's no drop.
Oh no, fortunately.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Are you not feeling well?
No, he's wet his pants.
Oh, at your age,
You shouldn't.
The heart is ageless.
That's true.
So they say. They also say the opposite.
The truth lies somewhere between the two.
That's true.
Since you travel so much, you must have many interesting things to tell us.
Yes, darling. Tell us what you've seen today.
oh, it's scarcely worth the trouble, for no one would believe me.
We're not going to question your sincerity.
You will offend us if you think that.
You'll offend them, my dear, if you think that.
Oh, well, today I witnessed something extraordinary. Something really incredible.
Oh,
Don't.
this is going to be amusing.
At last. Well, today, when I went shopping to buy some vegetables, which are getting to be dear and dear,
Where's it all going to end?
You shouldn't interrupt, my dear. It's very rude.
in the street, near a cafe, I saw a man, properly dressed, about 50 years old, or not even that, who
What?
what?
Don't interrupt, my dear. But disgusting.
My dear, it is you who interrupted first, you fool.
Hush. What was his man doing?
Well, I'm sure you'd say that I'm making it up. He was down on one knee, and he was bent over.
Oh.
Yes, bent over.
Not possible.
Yes, bent over. I went near him to see what he was doing.
And?
He was tying his shoelace, which had come undone.
Fantastic!
Someone else did this. I'd not believe it.
Why not? One sees things even more extraordinary every day. For instance, today, I myself saw a man quietly sitting in a seat, reading his newspaper.
What?
Perhaps it's the same man.
Ding dong.
Goodness, someone is ringing.
There must be somebody there. I'll go and see. Nobody.
I'm going to give you another example.
Ding dong.
Goodness, someone is ringing.
There must be somebody there. I'll go and see. No one.
You were saying that you were going to give us another example.
Oh yes.
Ding dong.
Goodness, someone is ringing.
I'm not going to open the door then.
Yes, but there must be someone there.
The first time there was no one. The second time no one. Why do you think there's someone there now?
Because someone has rung.
That's no reason.
What? When one hears the doorbell ring, that means someone is at the door ringing to have the door answered.
Not always. You just said otherwise.
In most cases, yes.
As for me, when I go to visit someone, I ring in order to be admitted. I think that everyone does the same thing. That each time there's a ring, there must be someone there.
That is true in theory, but in reality, things happen differently. You've just seen otherwise.
Your wife is right.
Oh! You women! You always stand up for each other.
Well, I'll go with you. You can't say that I am obstinate, but you will see that there's no one there. You see, there's no one there. Oh, these men who always think they're right and who are always wrong. Ding dong.
Goodness, someone is ringing.
Don't send me to open the door again. You've seen that it was useless. Experience teaches us that when one hears the doorbell ring, it is because there's never anyone there. Never.
That's not entirely accurate.
No. Very well, I'll go. You'll see. There's someone there.
That is possible.
Oh.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Or good evening, Mrs. Smith. You get a bit angry.
Oh.
You see, it's because my wife's a little chagrined at having been proven wrong.
Between Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Mr. Fire Chief.
This is no business of yours. I beg you not to involve outsiders in our family arguments.
Oh, my dear, this is not so serious. The fire chief is an old friend of the family. His mother courted me, and I knew his father. He asked me to give him my daughter in marriage if ever I had one, and he died waiting.
That's neither his fault nor yours.
Well, what's it all about then?
No, my husband was claiming.
No, it was you who was claiming.
Yes, it was she.
No, it was he.
Don't get all excited now. You tell me, Mrs. Smith.
Well, this is how it was. It is difficult for me to speak openly to you, but the father is also a professor.
Well then?
We were arguing because my husband said that each time the doorbell rings, there's always someone there.
That is possible.
And I was saying that each time the doorbell rings, there's never anyone there.
It might seem strange.
But it has been proven, not by theoretical demonstrations, but by facts.
That's false, since the fire chief is here. He rang the bell, I opened the door, and there he was.
When?
But just now.
Yes. But it was only when the doorbell rang the fourth time that there was someone there. And the fourth time does not count.
Never. It is only the first 3 times that count.
Mr. Fire Chief, permit me in my turn to ask you several questions.
Go right ahead.
When I opened the door and saw you, it was really you who had rang the bell.
Yes, it was I.
And you at the door and you rang in order to be admitted?
I do not deny it.
You see, I was right. When one hears the doorbell ring, it is because there's someone there. You certainly cannot say that the fire chief is not someone.
Certainly not. I repeat to you, speaking only of the first 3 times, since the fourth time does not count.
And when the doorbell rang the first time, was it you?
No, it was not I.
You see, the doorbell rang and there was no one there.
Perhaps it was someone else.
Were you standing at the door for a long time?
3/4 of an hour.
And you saw no one?
No one, I'm sure of that.
But the third time, it was not you who rang?
Yes, it was I.
But when the door was open, nobody was in sight.
Oh, that's because I hid myself as a joke.
Don't make a joke, Mr. Fire Chief. This business is too sad.
In short, we still do not know whether, when the doorbell rings, there's someone there or not.
Never anyone.
Always someone.
I'm going to reconcile you. You're both partly correct. Well, sometimes when the doorbell rings, sometimes there is someone, and other times there is no one.
That is true.
I think so too.
Life is very simple, really. Go on, kiss each other.
We just kissed each other a little while ago.
They'll kiss each other tomorrow. They have plenty of time.
Mr. Fire Chief, since you have had to settle this, please make yourself comfortable. Take off your helmet and sit down for a moment.
Excuse me, but I can't stay long. I should like to remove my helmet, but I haven't time to sit down. I must admit that I'm here on other business, official business.
And what can we do for you, Mr. Fire Chief?
Pardon my indiscretion. You don't mind with them here?
Say whatever you like.
We're old friends. They tell us everything.
Steve.
Well, is there a fire here?
Why do you ask us that?
Well, it's because, pardon me, I have orders to extinguish all the fires in the city.
Oh?
Yes, all.
I don't know. I don't think so. Do you want me to go and look?
There can't be one here. There's no smell of anything burning.
None at all? You don't have a little fire in the chimney, some burning in the attic or the cellar? A little fire to start with?
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I do not believe there's anything here at the moment. I promise I will notify you when we do have something.
Please don't forget, it would be a great help.
That's a promise.
And there's nothing burning at your house either.
No, unfortunately.
Things aren't going so well just now.
Very poorly. There's been almost nothing, a barn, a chimney, nothing important. And since there are no returns, the output on profits are very meager.
Times are bad. That's true all over. It's the same this year with business and agriculture as it is with fires. Nothing's prospering.
No wheat, no fires.
And no floods either.
But there is some sugar.
That's because it is imported.
It's harder in the case of fires. The tariffs are too high.
You know, all the same, there's an occasional asphyxiation by gas, but that's unusual too. Well, for instance, the young woman asphyxiated herself last week. She had left the gas on.
Had she forgotten it?
No, but she had thought it was her code.
These confusions are always dangerous.
Did you go to see the match, dear?
There's nothing doing down there. He's insured against fires.
Why don't you go see the Vicar of Wakefield and use my name?
I don't have the right to extinguish clergymen's fires. The bishop would get angry. Besides, they extinguish the fires themselves, or else they have them put out by Vestal virgins.
Go see the Durans.
I can't do that either. He's not English. He's only been naturalized. And naturalized citizens have the right to have houses, but they don't have the right to have them put out if they're burning.
Nevertheless, when they set fire to it last year, it was put out just the same.
He did that all by himself, clandestinely. But it's not I who would report him.
Neither would I.
Mr. Barchi, since you are not too pressed, stay a little while longer. You'd be doing us a favor.
Shall I tell you some stories?
Oh, by all means. Charming.
Yes.
Some stories. Hurrah!
What's even more interesting is the fact that firemen's stories are all true, and they're based on experience.
I speak from my own experience. Truth, nothing but the truth, no fiction.
That's right. Truth is never found in books, only in life.
Begin.
Begin!
Be quiet. He's beginning.
Excuse me. Don't look at me all like that. You know I'm shy, you embarrass me.
Isn't he charming?
Well, I'm going to try to begin anyhow. But promise me you won't listen.
But if we don't listen to you, we won't hear you.
I didn't think of that.
I told you, he's just a boy.
Oh,
That was a sweet child.
Chin
Yeah, well. The dog and the cow, an experimental fable. Once upon a time, another cow asked another dog, "Why is it you have not swollen your trunk?" "Pardon me," replied the dog. "It is because I thought I was an elephant."
What is the moral?
Well, that's for you to find out.
Tell us another.
A young calf had eaten too much ground glass. As a result, it was obliged to give birth. It brought forth a cow into the world. However, since the calf was male, the cow could not call him mama, nor could she call him papa, because the calf was too little. The calf was then obliged to get married, and the registry office carried out all the details completely a la mode.
A la mode de camp.
Like tripes.
You've heard that one before.
It was in all the papers.
It happened not far from our house.
I'll tell you another one. The cock. Once upon a time, the cock wished to play the dog, but he had no luck because everyone recognized him right away.
On the other hand, the dog that was to play the cock was never recognized.
I'll tell you one. The snake and the fox. Once upon a time, a snake came up to a fox and said, "It seems to me that I know you." "Me too," replied the fox. "Then," said the snake, "give me some money." "A fox doesn't give money," replied the tricky animal, who, in order to escape, jumped down into a deep ravine full of strawberries and chicken honey. The snake was there, waiting for him with a Mephistophelian laugh. The fox pulled out his knife, shouting, "I'm going to teach you how to live." Then he took to flight, turning his back. But he had no luck. The snake was quicker. With a well-chosen blow of his fist, he struck the fox in the middle of his forehead, which broke into 1,000 pieces while he cried, "No, no, 4 times no, I'm not your daughter."
It's interesting.
It's not bad.
My congratulations.
Not so good. Besides, I've heard it before.
It's terrible.
But it wasn't even true.
Yes, unfortunately.
It's your turn, darling.
I only know what. I'm going to tell it to you. It's called The Bouquet.
My wife has always been romantic.
She's a true English woman.
Here it is. Once upon a time, a fiancé gave the bouquet of flowers to his fiancée, who said thanks. But before she had said thanks, he, without saying a single word, took back the flowers he had given her in order to teach her a good lesson. And he said, "I take them back." He said goodbye and he took them back and went off in all directions.
Oh, charming.
You have a wife, Mr. Smith, of whom all the world is jealous.
It's true. My wife is intelligence personified. She's even more intelligent than I. In any case, she's much more feminine. Everyone says so.
Oh, no, it's too late.
Tell us one anyway.
I'm too tired.
Please do us a favor.
I beg you.
No.
You have a hot light. We're sitting on hot coals.
But I implore you.
Breaker!
You chorus again.
No, Dad, I was too polite.
The head code. My brother-in-law had on his paternal side a first cousin, whose maternal uncle had a father-in-law, whose paternal grandfather had married as his second wife a young native, whom he had met on one of his journeys, a girl of whom he was enamored, and by whom he had a son, who married an intrepid lady pharmacist, who was none other than the niece of a fourth-class petty officer of the Royal Navy, and whose adopted father had an aunt who spoke Spanish fluently, and who was perhaps one of the granddaughters of an engineer who died young, himself the grandson of the owner of a vineyard which produced mediocre wine, but who had a second cousin, a stay-at-home, a sergeant major, whose son had married a very pretty young woman, a divorcee, whose first husband was the son of a loyal patriarch, who, in the hope of making up his future, had managed to bring up one of his daughters so that she could marry a footman who had known Rothschild, and whose brother, after having changed his trade several times, married and had a daughter whose stunted great-grandfather wore spectacles, which had been given to him by a cousin of his, the brother-in-law of a man from Portugal, natural son of a miller, not so badly off, whose foster brother had married the daughter of a former country doctor, who himself, a foster brother of the son of a forester, himself the natural son of another country doctor, married 3 times in a row, whose third wife...
I knew that third wife. If I'm not mistaken, she had a chicken on a hornet's nest.
It's not the same one. As I was saying, whose third wife was the daughter of the best midwife in the region, and who early left a widow.
Like my wife.
I had married a glazier who was full of life, and had, by the daughter of a station master, a child who has burned his bridges.
His britches.
No, his bridge game.
And had married an oyster woman, whose father had a brother, mayor of a small town, who had taken as his wife a blonde schoolteacher, whose cousin, a fly fisherman,
A fly-by-night.
had married another blonde schoolteacher named Marie, too, whose brother was married to another Marie, also a blonde schoolteacher.
Since she's blonde, she must be Marie.
And whose father had been reared in Canada by an old woman, who was the niece of a priest, whose grandmother, occasionally in the winter, like everyone else, caught a cold.
Glorious. Almost unbelievable.
If you catch a cold, you should get yourself a colt.
It's a useless precaution, but absolutely necessary.
Excuse me, Mr. Fire Chief, but I do not follow your story very well. At the end, when we got to the part about the grandmother of the priest, I got mixed up.
One always gets mixed up in the hands of a priest.
Oh, yes, Mr. Fire Chief.
Begin again. Everyone wants to hear.
Well, I don't know whether I'll be able to. I'm here on official business. It depends on what time it is.
Oh, we don't have the time here.
But the clock.
It runs badly. It is contradictory and always indicates the opposite of what the hour really is.
Madam, sir, what do you want?
What have you come in here for?
I hope Madam and Sir will excuse me, and these ladies and gentlemen too. I would like to tell you a story myself.
What is she saying?
Oh, I think our friend's made us gone crazy.
What does she think she is? Ah.
Why are you butting in?
This is really uncalled for, Mary.
But it's she. Incredible.
And you.
Incredible. Here. Oh, what does all this mean?
You know each other.
And how?
I'm so glad to see you again at last.
Oh. This is too much. Here, in our home, in the suburbs of London.
It's not proper.
It was she who extinguished my first fires.
I feel these emotions are understandable, human, honorable.
All that is human is honorable. Even so, I do not like to see it. Here, among us.
She's not properly brought up.
You have too many prejudices.
What do you mean? Is that a maid, even though it's none of my business, is never anything but a maid.
Even if she is sometimes a rather good detective.
Let me go.
Don't be upset. They're not so bad, really.
You two are very touching, but at the same time, a little...
Yes, that's exactly the word.
a little too exhibitionist.
There's a native British modesty. Forgive me for attempting thus to define my thought. Not understood by foreigners, neither by specialists, thanks to which, if I may thus express myself, although I don't mean to refer to you.
I was going to tell you.
Don't tell us anything.
Oh, yes.
Go, my little Mary. Go quietly to the kitchen and read your poems before the mirror.
Even though I'm not a maid, I also read my poems before the mirror.
You know, this morning when you looked at yourself in the mirror, you didn't see yourself.
That's because I wasn't there yet.
All the same, I could perhaps recite a little poem.
My little Mary, you're frightfully obstinate.
I'm going to recite a poem. Then, if that agreed, there's a poem entitled The Fire, in honor of our fire chief. The poly poets were burning in the wood. A stone caught fire, the castle caught fire, the forest caught fire, the men caught fire, the women caught fire, the birds caught fire, the fish caught fire, the water caught fire, the smoke caught fire, the ice caught fire, everything caught fire, caught fire, caught fire.
Send chills up my spine.
Yes, there was a certain warmth in those lines.
I thought it was marvelous.
All the same.
You're exaggerating.
I admit, this is all a bit subjective, but this is my conception of the world. My ideal, my world. And that reminds me that I must leave. Since you don't have the time here, I must remind you that I am having a fire at the other end of the town in exactly 3/4 of an hour and 16 minutes. Consequently, I must hurry. But it will be quite unimportant.
What will it be? A little chimney fire?
Not even that, a little straw fire and some heartburn.
Well, I'm sorry to see you go.
You've been very entertaining.
Thanks to you, we have spent a truly Cartesian 1/4 of an hour.
That reminds me, the bold soprano.
She always wears her hair in the same style.
Oh, well, then, okay. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Good luck and a good fire.
Let's hope so, for everyone.
I can buy a pocket knife for my brother, but you can't buy Ireland for your grandfather.
One walks on his feet, but one heats electricity or coal.
He who sells knocks today will have an egg tomorrow.
In real life, one must look out through the window.
One can sit down on a chair when the chair doesn't have any.
One must always think of everything.
The ceiling is above, the floor is below.
When I say yes, it is only a matter of speaking.
To each his own.
Take a circle, caress it, and it will turn vicious.
People to read, while the cats are so young when they're small.
Nevertheless, it was the cow that gave us tails.
When I'm in the country, I love the solitude and the quiet.
We're not old enough for that yet.
Benjamin Franklin was right. You are more nervous than he.
What are the 7 days of the week?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Edward is a clerk. His sister Nancy is a typist, and his brother William is a shop assistant.
In our family. I prefer a bird in the bush to a sparrow in a barrel.
Rather a steak in a chalet than gristle in a castle.
An Englishman's home is truly his castle.
I don't know enough Spanish to make myself understood.
I'll give you my mother-in-law's slippers if you give me your husband's coffin.
I'm looking for a monophasic priest to marry to our maid.
Bread is a staff, whereas bread is also a staff, and an oak springs from an oak every morning at dawn.
My uncle that's none of the midwife's business.
Paper is for writing. The cat is for the rat, and cheese is for scratching.
The hog looks very fast, but the cook beats better.
Don't be turkeys, rather kiss the conspirator.
Charity begins at home.
I'm waiting for the aqueduct to come sing at my window.
One can prove that social progress is definitely better with sugar.
To hell with polishing.
One doesn't polish spectacles with black wax.
Yes, but with money one can buy anything.
I'd rather kill a rabbit than sing in the garden.
Cockatoos, 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 cockatoos,
Such cascades of cockatoos, such cascades of cocker.
Dogs have fleas. Dogs have fleas.
Captain! Cocky! Cricket! Cockaded! Cockroach! Mice have lice, but lice have mice.
An egg in a box is with 2 dogs.
Oh, let me gnash my teeth.
Crocodile. Let's go and slap Ulysses.
I'm going to to live in my cabana among my cacao trees.
Cacao trees on cacao farms stand bear coconuts, steal cocoa. Cacao trees on cacao farms stand bear coconuts, steal cocoa. Cacao trees on cacao farms stand bear coconuts, steal cocoa.
In Casca, you in Casca.
Don't brooch my brooch.
Don't smooch the brooch.
Groom the goose, don't goose the groom.
The goose groom. Groom your too.
Groom the bridegroom. Groom the bridegroom.
Seduce us, seduced.
Scaramouche. Saint Natouche.
Go take a douche.
I've been...
Saint Natouche stoops to my cartouche. Who'd stoop to blame? And I never choose to stoop.
Robert.
Browning.
Rudyard.
Kipling.
Robert Kipling.
Rudyard Browning.
Silly gobble gobblers, silly gobble gobblers.
Marietta, spot the pot.
Krishnamurti, Krishnamurti, Krishnamurti.
The Pope elopes. The Pope's got no horoscope. The horoscope's bespoke.
Bazaar, Balzac, bazooka.
Bazaar, bazaar, Brazil.
A-E-I-O-U. A-E-I-O-U. A-E-I-O-U-I.
BCDFGLMNPRCVWXZ.
From stage to stooge, from stage to surge.
Choo-choo, choo-choo, choo-choo. Choo-choo.
And
Not
That.
way.
and
Oh.
But.
Here. It's not that way. It's over 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 here. There. It's 9:00. We've drunk the English soup and eaten the fish and chips and the English salad. The children have drunk English water. We've eaten well this evening. That's because we live in the suburbs of London and because our name is Smith.